Hi, this is Trinisha Cottrell, and today I want to talk about what you intended from me. And so, what made me want to talk about what you intended for me is earlier today, before I started work, I did some self reflection. And I like to do this if I can every day, if I remember to do it, if I remember to remember that it's not about everybody else, it's about me. It's about me being the best version of myself because I want to do better, not because I'm doing it for someone else or for something else. I'm doing it because, and I do have other reasons that I do it as well, but in general, my main focus is to be the best version of me for me so that when I go out into the world, I have something to give to other people. I truly feel like you can't give to anyone else until you give to yourself first, until you really pour into yourself first, and you add that fuel by reading, by speaking life into yourself, by spending time with God, well, by being in the Bible, by being intentional. And I know, like, when we think about intentionality, we think about relationships, or we think about, you being intentional in your life or for the things that you want in your life. And earlier today, as I was thinking, I started thinking about God being intentional when it comes to us. And I actually I had this question in my mind for God, and it was just something about, some of the things that I aspired to have in my life and the things that I want that God wants for me. And it really made me think about, well, I can't do this like this. So how am I going to be able to do that? Or, this doesn't make any sense because if I do this, then, and it's not that I'm like trying to go against God or anything like that. It's just to really seek understanding, to really try to understand what's going on. And I know that I won't have the answers to everything because sometimes God just needs me to be obedient so that He can work in the background. Because if we're honest, like I always like to use money as an example, but it's just because that's something that everyone can relate to for the most part. And so when I think of someone saying something like, "Oh yeah, I just really want $1 million," and and God may give you $1 million, but if you don't have the right intentions, you're not going to get it. It's not that God's just going to give it to you because you want it. And He's not going to tell you, hey, at 33 years old, you're going to be a millionaire. He's not going to do something like that because your behavior will change. Things that you have to learn on the journey will change. Things that you'll have to do to grow, to expand, to become the person that God created you to be will be at a standstill. It'll be at a halt because you will be so, and I don't want to say big headed, but you will be so sure of yourself. You will know too much. Knowing too much information when it comes to God's plan for your life is not always a good thing. It's not always good for a person, which is why I think when it comes to religion, a lot of people talk about like people who are psychic and things like that. And they try to say things like, I just trust in God. I don't trust in a psychic because God never intended for me to know that. And I truly believe that. And I'm not saying this to like make anyone feel badly or like to look down on upon anyone or anything like that. I'm just saying it like from my point of view. I really feel like if God wanted us to know, we would know. If God wanted to give us an answer to something, we would know. And sometimes, like when someone says something will happen in your life, sometimes it could be something that's not even going to happen. And then you have it so, is so deep in your thought process, is so deep in your mind that you end up making it come to fruition. And it was never intended for your life. Like it could be that ex, and let's say, and I only say this because I know a lot of women that have went through this, and I feel like it will be relatable. But it's like that ex that let's say you go to a psychic or something, and they say, "Oh yeah, I really see you and the person that you just your person just working everything out, and you're going to be together by the end of this year." They don't tell you that you're going to be together because someone that they were with is going to pass away or something else is going to happen, like a lot of tragic events. They don't tell you that the only way that you're going to get back together, not saying that this is what will happen, like that's actually the truth. I'm just saying, like, the only way that this will happen is if you actually focus on yourself. And then the person comes back to you because you were always intended to be together, because that's what God intended, not because someone saw it happening. You know what I'm saying? And so for some of us, I really feel like when we get messages like that, especially with me being over analytical or someone else who's worried about their life or whatever else, or going through a tough time, sometimes we seek things like that for comfort. But I think that if you need comfort, we could find that in God. And I don't want to be the type of Christian or person that says something like that and I make it seem like it's always got to be a religious solution. But I don't know about you, but I can't do anything without God. And I don't care how many answers I have. I'm not trying to look foolish getting to my fate or getting to my destiny. I am trying to look classy. I'm trying to be ladylike. I'm trying to do things in love and kindness to get to my destination. I do not want to be out here doing the most for something that God already had for me, you know? And I feel like when you know you're going to get something, sometimes you don't treat people the right way. Sometimes you don't, you step over other people to get to something that is supposed to be for you. And when it comes to relationships and things like that, sometimes some people will just feel like, well, he's only with her because he's not with me, or they people a lot of people tell themselves things like, well, I'm better than her, so it makes no sense for him to be with her. But if he wanted to be with you, he would be with you. You don't have to do all of this to get something that God already has for you. I promise you. And I say that because it really breaks my heart when I see women and men do this. They really go out of their way to try to convince someone that they're good enough for them. And I'm not saying it like I've never been in a situation like that. I did that a long time ago, and it's really heartbreaking. It really is, especially like when you're in it, you can't really see, how crazy you look. But when you're not in it and I see other people do stuff like that, it really makes me feel so badly for them. It really hurts my heart to see them striving for something that's not ever going to be for them, or for something that might potentially be for them, but they're doing so much more harm than good in this waiting season. Then, like, them going all out of the way to do the most is like really, to me, seems like they're showing the guy or the woman that, hey, I don't value myself. And then they're losing respect for you because you are doing the most. When if it's something that God has for you, which is what makes me, the only thing that makes me feel like unsure about things is if God doesn't give me his stamp of approval and I go for something and then I get a little insecure because it's like, well, God didn't give me a like yes on this. So this might not even be for me. And then it makes me like, if it's something I really want, I really want it, then I'm like, like I start getting like feeling unsure. And whenever you follow God, whenever you put your faith in God, whenever you follow his lead, you don't have to worry about trying to convince someone that they're for you, or a job that it's for you, or a place or anything that it's for you. God will make it happen. You just don't know when it's going to happen. And I really feel like we lose a lot of our security, a lot of our confidence, because we constantly try to go for things that aren't for us. If we would just focus on what it is that God wants for us, you don't have to ever worry about feeling insecure. I remember I was at this opportunity. I had this opportunity like recently. Can I say recent? I guess so. Like a month or two is not that bad. So let's say recently. I had this opportunity. I went to this place and I'm like, God's like, this is where you're supposed to be. This is what you're supposed to do. And I'm like, okay, I hear God saying that, and I don't know like who's going to be there, what's going to happen, anything else. I just know that this is what God told me. And so I'm going there and I see all of these people doing the most. I see all of these people who are way more qualified than me. And I'm like smooth. I'm like cool, calm, and collected. I know I got that from TG. Every time I think about being cool, that's like the phrase that always pops into my head for some reason. But I'm just like, I am really just so calm. And it's because I know something that God told me that I needed to know so that I wouldn't feel the pressure, so that I wouldn't be over the top, so that I wouldn't be acting like I got to do the most to get something that God already had for me. And I feel like in in our lives, whenever we feel like we're doing the most, it's probably because we are. Whenever we feel like we are insecure, it's probably because that thing isn't for us. Because anything that's for you should never make you feel insecure. You should have complete security in it because you got God's stamp of approval, or because and because you know that this is for you. Whenever I hear someone trying to convince themselves, like, yeah, I'm better than everybody else there, even if, just like with my example, when I was at the place and there were people that were more qualified, even if you feel like you're more qualified for the position, the job, the person, whatever it is, if that's not what God intended for you, you're not going to get it. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter if you're more beautiful, like, than the other person in your eyes. It doesn't matter if, like I said, you're more qualified. It doesn't matter what criteria you bring to the table. What matters is this what God has for you? And you can try to convince yourself, you can try to make excuses, you could try to like go back and forth with God, like, God, are you sure? I really want this. But do you see how badly you want this thing, this person, place, or thing? If you want this thing more than you want God, it's probably not for you. God would never want you to idolize anything over him. God would not ever want you to covet something else. So if you are in one of those categories, this thing probably is not for you, because what it's going to do is deteriorate your mental health. It's going to wear on your mind, your body, your soul, and your spirit. It's not going to allow your conscience to be clear if you're constantly thinking about hating or being jealous or whatever towards any other person or thing. God would never want you to have to walk through life like that. How can you be a parent and then show your child how it feels to be insecure? It's nothing wrong with having feelings. It's nothing wrong with feeling all of the emotions. But when you know that God is taking care of things, it really gives you the confidence that you need. It really gives you the security that you need. You really don't have to worry about what everyone else is doing. You don't have to say, it must be nice. I know you hear people say that all the time. And I'm not saying that to get on any of those people. I'm just saying that it could be nice for you as well. Because God's intention for you is everything that you need. You don't have to worry about trying to say, I want to be like this person, or I want to be like this in a place like this. Like, God may be trying to position you in a place like that, but you have to go through the journey first to get there. God can't just give you something prematurely. He can't give you something when you're not ready. You have to be completely ready. You have to be in a good mindset to get something like that. God is not going to allow you to have something that's going to destroy you. And I always say destroy because sometimes we really underestimate getting the things that we want instead of what God wants for our life, giving us the things that we need. And we feel like if we just convince him a little more, maybe if we do this way, maybe if we didn't say this or this, there's nothing that you could say that could ever ruin something that God has for you. You can completely bomb something and God will still make a way for it because it was always intended for you. Sometimes we like to beat ourselves up and think, well, maybe if I said this or I did this way, things would be different. You can't change the past. You can only change the future. And you could always, repent. You could always apologize to someone for hurting them. But what you can't do is make something fate. You can't make something your destiny. Only God can do that. God knows your entire life. And so if God is not giving you something, it's not because he's withholding it from you. It's because he's protecting you from something else. It's because he has something better for you. And I know we always hear people say that, but it's so true. I was feeling a certain type of way about something earlier today, and I wasn't like in my feelings or anything like that, but I just was thinking about something that I had talked to God about. And I was just like, God, you're saying this is for me, but how can it be for me if this person wants this or this, in like a job stance? If this person is looking for somebody like this, how can I be the person for the job? And God shows me, like, I guess the credentials or whatever else. And in the credentials, it describes me. And I'm thinking that I'm missing something because I'm like, well, this person said previously they're looking for this, and I'm not that. They, this person at this new company is looking for this, and I'm not that either. Like, I mean, I think, they're like competency. I have competency. They're saying that this is something else that you need. And I'm like, well, I mean, I I'm like entry level on that aspect. I know a little something, but I don't know a lot about that. And today it changed and it didn't say that you have to be I can't remember what they use. They always say something like you have to be like really, really good at this one thing. Like it has to be something that you have so much experience behind this thing. And in this instance, it says entry level or it says um, some kind of years or something like that. And it's exactly what I am. And God had told me before that this was for me. And at first, I was just like, but it can't be because I'm not this. And God didn't ask you what you're not. He said this is for you. It doesn't matter what you think you are. It matters what you think you are, but it doesn't matter if you think you're qualified. What matters is that God thinks you're qualified. What matters is that God has this for you. And it's God is so amazing because even when you can't understand how it's going to happen or whatever else, God will make it happen, especially when it's for you. And I don't want to make this video go long because I have 15 minutes before I have to leave and I don't have to get ready. I'm already ready. I just have to put some shoes on, but I just didn't want to get so enthralled in this message that I got preoccupied and then ended up being late because I do have to be there on time. And so I just I really I really really just I really want the best for everybody. I know it sounds silly. I know I sound like so cheesy right now. But I really do want people to be happy. I want people to love themselves for real. Like not just pretend like and try to like be big and bad and just talk all of this nonsense and like out of the side of your neck and really just trying to put on a show for other people or having a sense of false confidence. I really truly want people to love themselves. I really truly want people to see the value in themselves. When I meet people or I'm around people, I'm that person that's like, yeah, you should definitely do that. Like, definitely check with God first, but definitely do that. Like, when someone has something that they are so passionate about, when they really truly love something, they really want to do something in their life, I'm the person that's like, yes, you can absolutely do it. What is your plan behind it? Like, you don't need to know all the answers right now, but you need to be working towards whatever it is to get that to happen because this is definitely all of you. Like, you could definitely do this. And I know I sound so corny, but I really do want people to be happy. I want people to love themselves. I want to see people healthy so that they can have healthier families and healthy relationships and just really truly be healthy for their friends, their family members, their children. I just it just when I look around, I know if your why doesn't make you cry. I know, I know. And it's just when I look around and I see people have false confidence and I don't mean it like I'm trying to get on those people. I mean like they'll say, "Yeah, because if it was me, I'd do this." And they just make it seem like they would always make the best choice. When you're human, you're always going to make mistakes. It just makes me feel for them because I want them to be happy. I don't want them to feel like they're not good enough and like they have to over explain or be something that they're not, especially for any person who's not treating them the way that they should be treated. And I mean, it could be guy, girl, I mean, a man, woman, whatever. It really just makes me, I don't want to say sad, but it really like makes my heart feel like like, oh man, like you really deserve better than that. When you deserve to be treated with respect and common decency, you deserve to be appreciated. You deserve to be talked to the right way. Like when people, and I I cannot say that I have always been a perfect person. I'm not going to say that at all. I just, when I look over and out into the world, when I see people do this, it makes me cringe. It really makes me feel some type of way when I see people talk badly to each other, to their children, or to themselves. Like, if I'm having a conversation with somebody and they're like, yeah, but I just can't do this, or I'm not good enough to do this, or they say something negative, it makes my heart hurt. Like, I'm just like, no, but you're awesome. Like, why would you think that? Why would you ever think that you're not good enough? Why would you ever think that you don't deserve to be talked to in a respectful way? Why would you? I know. Why would you ever feel like you don't deserve someone to appreciate, honor, and respect you? Why would you ever feel like just because of a situation or a circumstance that this is the best that God has for you? You know? And it really does break my heart when I see people settle for stuff like that. It really breaks my heart when I see people that I'm cool with just feel like they have to settle for the bare minimum, or they have to just settle for something that, like a breadcrumb. Like, I really want people to be truly happy so we could stop hurting each other. I really want people to find that true joy and happiness that you could only get from God. I really want people to know that there's no person, place, or thing that could ever fill a God-sized hole in your heart or your soul or your spirit. Sometimes we seek things in life, acting as if, putting on a fake smile or doing things in our life is going to bring us that joy and happiness that God does, but nothing can fill God's shoes. And the more that we continue to lie to ourselves, the more that we continue to pretend as if we are okay, we are only hurting ourselves. We are acting as if because we put on a fake smile, it's going to make everything better. It's not. Putting on a smile may make you feel like you want to laugh. It may change your mood temporarily. But if you are seeking real, true happiness, you can only get that from God and therapy. And I say that because some people, like back in the day, they would just say, yeah, all I need is God. All I need is Jesus. And God does a lot of amazing things for you. He also supplied therapists to help you in other areas of your life. I don't think that that was done in absence of helping individual people. I think that was done for the benefit of the people. And so when I think about different people doing things in life to try to fulfill like something that happened in the childhood or trauma or anything else, like just trying to find something to fill that space besides God, I just feel so like heartbroken because I'm hoping that they find God. I'm hoping that they can get that joy and happiness. Like when I rededicated my life to God, and even now, sometimes I'm so happy. I'm like, I know people are like, what is wrong with her? She cannot be happy like this all the time. And you see me on some videos. Sometimes I'm in a mood. Sometimes, people hurt my feelings or, things happen in my life that make me sad, but I can't live there. I can't live my life off of one person's opinion. They're not God. I can't allow someone not liking me to make me hate myself or make me feel like God isn't who he said he is. That's just one individual. Does it suck? Absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and fake and pretend or front like I don't have feelings or emotions or like I just don't care at all. Like I'm only seeking God's approval, yes, but it still hurt my feelings. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, it's just one of them things. And I just really think that we need to do a lot of self-reflection. We really need to see what it is that we're truly searching for because a human being can't be God. They can't be everything to you. No one person is ever going to be perfect. You are never going to be perfect. So why are we seeking another individual to be perfect? No one is going to be everything because they're not God. And so we need to really extend the grace that God is giving us on ourselves and on other people, because the same measure that we judge someone else is the same measure that we will be judged at. Every time I think about that, when I think about saying something about someone or doing something, and I'm just being real, because I can't sit here and pretend like I never sinned or don't do anything wrong. I do stuff wrong all the time, not on purpose, but I do. And when I do, that's the thing that really brings to the forefront of my mind, I want to be godlike, like reality check. I'm like, if I sit here and I judge this person right now, the next time I do something, when I'm not here to defend myself, that's exactly how someone's going to judge me. And it most of the time is like, okay, Root, like, go ahead, just swallow the words, don't say anything, because if I was in this situation, I wouldn't want someone to just assume this about me. I would want them to know that I'm trying. I would want them to know that I'm trying to be a better person. I'm doing better. And it's not that I would care about someone's opinion. I just want them to see the God in me. Like people always say that you might be the only thing that's like God that people see that day. Like you might be the only Christian, or the only Bible that people read. And they say that because it's true. Because sometimes when people see you, or I'll see people who are like, I don't want to say atheists, but they will be like non-believers, or they'll say like they're on the fence or something like that. When they have a conversation with me, I don't want the conversation with me to be the reason why they don't follow God. You know what I'm saying? Especially since God brings me so much joy in everything, and so much hope and peace. If I want someone else to feel that hope and peace, they need to see that I'm peaceful and hopeful. They need to see that I'm willing to give someone the benefit of the doubt. Do I want to be like their dummy? No. Like I don't just want to be gullible and naive, having naivety. I want to make sure that naivety. I want to make, why did I just say it wrong? I just corrected and said it wrong, but that's fine. I'm not going to edit it because it's real. And so, so in order for me to be smart about this, in order for me to be godlike, I don't have to try to please society. I don't care how how naive the people in the world think I am. What I care about is what God thinks about me. If God is saying, hey, you need to help this person and this person doesn't deserve it, I'm going to help them because God told me to, not because I want to. And if God says, hey, this person is doing this because they're hurting, and they say, help them, I'm going to help regardless. I'm going to try to be the bigger person. I'm going to try to do better. I'm not just going to try to make them feel as badly as it made me. Like sometimes it's hard because I am hurting, and hurt people, but I never intentionally go out of my way to try to hurt someone. Usually it's something like a knee-jerk reaction. It's not just like I'm intending to hurt someone kind of thing. It really is just like, this is something that I've done a long time ago, and I'm trying to like veer away from that. I'm trying to do something totally different now. I'm trying to be godlike. And when I got hurt, it's like, like I immediately want to say or do something, and I'm like, reel it back in. Like, no, we're not doing that. We need to be good. We need to be doing the right thing, because this could be this person's struggle. This person could be struggling with this, and they could be, maybe they're kind of religious. And when they have a conversation with you and they see how you just let it go, they learn about forgiveness. I don't know. But I always think about stuff like that, and it kind of helps me a little. I wouldn't say it helps me all the time because I'm not perfect. But most of the time, when I get ready to say something or do something, I feel myself catching myself, because I want to make sure that I'm being a good influence. I want to make sure that people can see, like, not that I'm perfect, but that I'm trying, and that they don't have to be perfect. They just have to be willing to put in the work and be intentional. And so in conclusion, because now I only have a few minutes, went from 15 minutes to a few minutes. So sometimes in life, when we're thinking about being intentional, we really do have to be intentional ourselves, but we also have to know that God intended what is happening in our life to happen, our destiny to happen. You can't try to convince someone or something to be for you. Only God is going to be able to do that. God has things that are for you and only for you, and no one else can take that away from you. God's intentions for your life are always good. And whenever he has something for you, there's nothing anyone can do to take it away. There's nothing anyone can do to stop that from being your thing. And so when it comes to life, just trust in God. Put your trust in him, put your faith in him. Allow him to lead you so that you don't have to spend a year in a toxic relationship, or 15 years or 20 years with someone who doesn't really like you or want you. And I'm not just saying that in general. I'm just saying whenever you're chasing something that's not of God, it is never going to work out no matter how much time you put into it. So you could think that, oh, because we've been friends 12 years, I'm supposed to be friends with this person. If that's not the friendship God intended for you, it's not going to work out. The job's not going to work out. The relationship's not going to work out. What's going to work out is what God has in your destiny, what God intended for your life. So rest in knowing that God got your back, that he really got you. Like, you don't have to do the most. You really don't. Every time you do it, it's just making you look bad. It's just taking energy from you. It's destroying your hair because your hair is falling out. It's making you have frown lines and under eye circles. It's making your body weight fluctuate because you're stressing yourself out because you're trying to fight a battle that's not yours, it's God's. You can't take God's position. Only God can be God. So just be you, because that's good enough.